Today we're here at Dawnbreaker Farm in Herndon Mills, North Carolina, and we're processing ducks. We've got about 300 ducks over here, and there's a lot of questions about how we scald and pluck ducks, the different methods that different people do. We're going to show you our method that we're pretty happy with. Over the years, we've probably done 15,000 to 20,000 ducks. We've had the opportunity to hone down and learn from just experience on how to do it best and most efficiently. So Alex is going to load up the scalder. Let's look at that. What we do is we scald around 145 for about 3 minutes. This is a Ultraman 37-inch scalder. So it's got 2 burners on it. This thermostat is controlled with a timer. So we'll just flip the switch and let it go. And that's 8 ducks in here. These ducks are 8 weeks and 1 day. Actually, looks like we need to have some water. Yeah. This go like that? Yeah. Yeah, refilled it after I took out. The one thing about ducks is all their feathers hold a lot of water, so you do need to refill it. We have the luxury of having a second scalder here, a backup scalder that we just use to heat up water and refill when necessary. So it's already got the right temp, so we can just pick water and add it in. So this scalder's set for exactly 3 minutes. Again, it's like you start it off, usually it's higher around 147, 148. And then as you put ducks in it, it's moving. You can drop down, so it hovers anywhere between like 142 to 148. So we can have it always on around that time, going on the timer. And this is a nice scalder because it dunks them. So to get the full body submerged, you don't have a manual dunking that a lot of people have. It's nice to have the bar that turns them around the drag. Once they're done scalding, we let them sit for a little minute just to drain so that we're not going through so much water. Like that stack. And then, so this is a Ultraman, I think this is a 37-inch, it's the biggest model. And this isn't on a timer, but the birds will just tumble in here, and we leave them in here for 3-4 minutes. Again, we don't time it. but they can take a real beating. The other thing is, if you did this to a chicken, it would be absolutely mutilated. But ducks have such incredible, stronger bodies, stronger tissues that they're not being torn apart by this process. So you can, again, plucking, scalding for 3 minutes and plucking for about 4 minutes, and they come out beautiful. You'll see in just a couple minutes. So they really do need a long, long tumble in the plucker. One thing we do add to the scalder is we add a lot of soap. So we use basic H from Shackley. We buy it in 5-gallon buckets, and we add that very generously to the scalder. If you're running a USDA facility, you might need to do a hog scald or something similar that passes inspection. But here we're operating under poultry exemption, and we use basic H. It's just a natural biodegradable soap. As you can see, they're getting cleaner, but they still got a little ways to go. We'll get as many of those feathers off as possible. And I think one thing important about ducks is just to change your mentality. When you're used to processing chickens, it comes out so cleanly and so fast. Ducks are slow, they take their time, and they're not going to come out perfect. There's always going to be some feathers, and that's okay. You just kind of have to adjust your parameters. When we're processing chickens, we don't want any feathers on our finished product. But with ducks, it's just inevitable. And we aren't waxing, so you can see like how much cleaner they're starting to come out. If I can grab one, you know, so they still got probably another minute, but that's already what they look like. You know, the biggest feathers are here in this area and kind of under the feathers. But we'll leave them in there even another minute, they'll come out even cleaner. Again, we're not monitoring the timing of this so closely. I'm standing here for the video, but in general, whoever's killing is killing, scalding, and plucking for us at the same time. It just comes to this when he gets to it. We kind of time it with the rotation of the scalder, but we're not too exact on this. Again, the ducks, there's a large margin of error. I think in a lot of ways, ducks are easier to process than a chicken because you have such a large margin of error and they're so forgiving. So here we go. This is what it looks like. Pretty good, coming out straight out of the plucker. So a few little feathers here, and then a little bit here. But for the most part, you know, 99% clean. These come out really easily. You know, this kind of feathers, like we just try to pick it a little bit, but mostly we just let it go and just accept it. We sell to a lot of restaurants, and the most important thing to them is that the breast is clean. So we'll spend a little bit of time in here finger plucking, but then they don't really care about the wings or the legs as much because they're going to confit it. And when they confit, it all gets mixed in, you can't even notice it. So as long as the breast is pretty clean, they're happy. So that's one, you know. Again, they're all coming out pretty nicely. These are ducks. They're 8 weeks in a day. So this is, if you process them you'll get a little better pluck if you process them between 7 and then 7.5. So you get about an extra ½ pound if you wait the extra couple days. So it's kind of worth that compromise, but that's up to you how clean you want them. And then we just send them in here for a little bit of extra finger plucking to get this kind of stuff up, and then eviscerating and packaging. And there we go. So I mean, the main thing is, again, just to reiterate, scalding between around 145 or so for 3 minutes, pluck for about 4 minutes, And that's all we do. Lots of soap in the scalder that really does help, especially if you're doing a lot of ducks and the water gets dirty. But I think one of the main things is just your mentality, change your mentality when you're processing ducks, that they're just going to be some feathers and it's inevitable. But we do a good amount of ducks. This is 300 ducks that we're doing today. We've got a crew of 7 of us. And, you know, it is definitely something very manageable, something that we do very well. And we're happy to share it with you guys so that you can learn from our processes.